I would literally just hand baby Sage to one of my parents and just cry in the shower, having like that relief and that, whoa. Little Sage, he makes the funniest noises. Now that I'm getting used to baby boy and all of his cues, ooh, he's done with that pacifier. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new here, my name is Esperanza. I am a full-time content creator going on 7 years. I just gave birth about a month ago to my first baby, a baby boy named Sage Wilder. So for those of you who have not been following along with my story, because maybe you just ran across my channel, you're watching my videos for the first time, I've basically been doing these updates here and there on this situation that has been going on in my life. I have kind of been calling these videos like breakup update, and also just like talking about my pregnancy and that kind of thing. So in today's video, I wanted to do a breakup update because I don't really know what else to kind of call these videos when I'm talking about just like what's going on in my life. And I also wanted to talk about being a single mom to a newborn, what it's like being a mom with a newborn, and doing it alone. So I just am going to give like a quick recap for those of you who are new here and who are not familiar with my story. But I had been, basically my partner and I had been together for 10 years. We were engaged for two and a half years, I believe. And we decided to go ahead and get pregnant because we figured we would be getting married the next year. That was the plan, in like a European wedding with my family. And so we decided that we would just go ahead and try to get pregnant because we were a little bit worried that in 10 years we hadn't been pregnant before. So we were just thinking, you know, like, what if we have difficulties? Let's just go ahead and get started now, was basically our mindset. And unfortunately, my partner had been struggling with mental health issues, not for our entire relationship, but definitely like the last 5 years or so. I would say his mental health issues like had seemed to be getting worse here and there, and I really didn't realize how bad they were, or at least basically everything came to a head when I was almost 6 months pregnant with baby Sage. And basically my partner decided that it would be best for us to break up because he at the time wasn't willing to get help and recognized that his mental health issues had gotten really bad, had gotten worse. And so because he wasn't willing to get help, I basically had to leave that relationship. I had to move to Phoenix to live with my parents, and it took about 4 months, but my partner finally did go and get help, which actually happened right before baby's due date. So it was a bit stressful for me during that time going into giving birth to baby boy. Thankfully, he is doing so much better. I'm not going to give too many details about that. He of course does know that he basically helped me get to where I am with social media, doing social media full time. So he knows that I share all about my life and everything, and he knows that I've been sharing what's been going on in my life with you guys. And so many of you have just been so supportive and been commenting that you're praying for him, praying for me, praying for the baby, and all of our prayers were answered because what I was really wanting was for him to get help, and he did. So that is definitely such a positive thing to be thankful for. And our hopes is to try to somehow be able to be a family again, but there are a lot of things that have to happen before that is a possibility for sure. So I don't exactly know what the future holds. Trying to be positive for now, and I will maybe give you guys an update with a little bit more details about that in the next coming months, because as of right now, I'm not 100% sure what is going to be happening moving forward. So that made the rest of my pregnancy very difficult. I was very stressed out. I was very heartbroken. It was just an extremely traumatic situation for me to have to go through during my pregnancy, and was actually one of my worst fears. So one of my worst fears come true, and it was just a very difficult time for me. Going into the hospital to give birth was a very emotional time for me as well, especially because it ended up being very traumatic. I had to be induced, and I was given a bunch of different kinds of drugs to induce labor, all of which just went wrong. Baby's heartbeat dropped like 5 times. He didn't react well to the drugs, and I ended up having to have a C-section in the end. And I actually have a video with a story time about that, about my birth story, if you guys want to watch that. But it was just a very traumatic experience for me. And so I ended up being at the hospital for a week, 3 days in labor, and then recovering from the C-section. Baby Sage ended up in the NICU. Basically, everything about my labor and delivery ended up being the worst that I could have imagined, like things that I feared, having a C-section, having baby end up in the NICU. So that being said, when I got home from the hospital, I was definitely having very rough baby blues. And actually, I immediately started having the baby blues at the hospital, because the day that we were released to our postpartum room for my C-section recovery, the very next morning, so like 4 hours later, because we were admitted at 4, and at 8 a.m. they took him away to the NICU. So right as they did that, I started bawling, because that was just like, to top everything off, was the worst thing that could have happened. And so that night, I remember just crying and crying and thinking to myself, I just can't go through this again. Like, I'm not strong enough to go through this again. Like, of course, being pregnant and thinking that I was going to have a partner through all of that, thinking that I was going to have my partner there in the delivery room with me, and for it to have gone the way that it did, that was traumatic enough. And then having such a traumatic labor and delivery, ending up in a C-section, one of my fears, was extremely traumatic. And having baby taken to the NICU, all of those things, I was just thinking to myself, like, I was just crying and so emotional, thinking like, I can't get pregnant again. I can't have another baby again, because I don't think I'm strong enough to go through all of this again. And it was a very, very sad feeling for me, because I've always wanted to be a mom. I've always felt like that was my calling. And so to feel that way about pregnancy and about birth and all of those things was just really very sad for me, because I was thinking to myself, this is probably going to be my only baby, because I am in so much pain. I am just so like broken down at this point. I just can't imagine going through it again. And so pretty much every night that we were there while baby was in the NICU, which ended up being almost 4 days, I was just crying to myself at night, couldn't really sleep. I had to go down to visit him every 3 hours. That's what I wanted to do, so that I could breastfeed him and do skin to skin and all of that. And at 2 a.m. and 5 a.m. I would not go down there so I could try to get some sleep, but I would pump to send milk down to him. And basically didn't get any sleep at all for this entire week at the hospital. And whenever I did have the chance to sleep, I would just have all these feelings of sadness going on and crying and all of that. I was just so emotional. And when I got home from the hospital, it was basically the same. So of course I was happy that baby and I were home and safe. And I'm not saying that there weren't times where I was happy, just like cuddling him, holding him, and being so happy that he was finally here, looking at his cute little face and all those things. But it was just a very rough transition for me because I didn't have a partner there to help me with everything like I thought that I would. And those first 2 nights with a newborn are definitely the hardest. I got no sleep because he was basically just cluster feeding, wanting to feed all of the time. Okay, so I had to take a pause to breastfeed Sage, and now he's sucking on his pacifier, so you guys might hear that. I'm gonna try to hone this video in now, but I think basically where I left off was just saying that the first 2 days with a newborn were extremely difficult. I got no sleep those 2 nights, and I had already not gotten sleep from the week at the hospital. And so the baby blues were definitely setting in really, really strong during the first week at home with baby boy, I would say. I remember my mom just like walking in, and I was sitting in my glider nursing him and just crying because I could not stop like the flood of tears. I could not stop my emotions. I was trying to be positive, trying to focus on being happy that baby was with me, holding baby, feeding baby, all of those things. And there were just those moments where that basically sadness was just completely taking over. And I think a lot of that has to do with fatigue. I was extremely fatigued because of the lack of sleep. Or I guess not fatigued. What I meant to say was sleep deprivation. A lot of it is triggered by sleep deprivation. And I think since I've been home from the hospital, and Sage will be a month old tomorrow, since I've been home from the hospital, I've only been able to take a nap like maybe 3 times. So in an entire month, I've only been able to take 3 naps. And also, I guess I should say that it's basically me taking care of little Sage Wilder all day. My parents are retired, but they are super involved in their community. They have a ton of activities that they go to, clubs that they're in, that kind of thing. So they're gone most of the day, and it's really only in the evening where I'm able to get some help with Sage. So usually one of my parents will hold him while I take a shower at least. So that's kind of like the only time that I get to myself is a shower in the evening. And other than that, I'm pretty much just taking care of Sage all day, taking care of a newborn all day, and trying to get work done. So I'll be shooting campaigns, editing campaigns, and usually I'm just sitting in that glider with like a little side table, breastfeeding him, working on my laptop with the other hand. And I do collect my breast milk in a Haka, so I'm kind of able to get a little bit of a break from breastfeeding with whatever I collected in my Haka. And yeah, that's pretty much how all of my days go. And it was really hard in the first week because you don't really know, like, especially when you're a first time mom, it's hard to know what is he crying about. Like, is he getting enough food? Does he have like a gassy tummy? Does he need a diaper change? All of those things you're not super familiar with. But now that I'm getting used to baby boy and all of his cues, ooh, he's done with that pacifier. So now that I'm understanding his cues a little bit better, and now that we have kind of been able to get into a bit of a routine, so waking up in the morning, I will, while he's sleeping, like run to the kitchen, pop my breakfast in the air fryer, run to the bathroom. Hopefully I'm able to do that before he wakes up. And then after that, I try to do like some skin to skin time with him, nursing and skin to skin in bed. After that, I will get some work done while he either takes a nap on me or while he's breastfeeding, squeeze in lunch. We go on a walk, I play with him in his play gym, and kind of just like around all those activities, I try to squeeze in some work. Lately, I'm trying to make napping a little bit more of a priority because I've realized that I'm just so exhausted all the time, and especially with breastfeeding, it just takes a lot of energy. And I realized that I need to try to nap a little bit more so that I can make sure that I'm able to produce breast milk in the quantities that I want to. So we pretty much just nurse on demand with him. I'm trying to eat oatmeal every day, trying to drink like 2 of these a day because that's very important for breast milk production as well. And trying to make sure I'm getting electrolytes. What else? Basically, I just pop something easy into the air fryer from Trader Joe's for breakfast, and then I'll have whatever my mom's making for lunch or dinner. So that is really nice, is not having to make any meals. So for snacks, I try to have like a cheese stick or a Cliff Bar. I'll have like a Cliff Bar while we go on our walk, and we've been doing that every day for I think like 2, maybe even 2.5 weeks now. So doing these little things, like having formed a routine with him, has really helped. But I will not lie, the first 2 weeks were really hard. I think for like the first week and a half, I would literally just hand baby Sage to one of my parents and just cry in the shower and cry. And it was just like uncontrollable. So besides the sleep deprivation, I was also just so depressed because thinking just every day that my partner Skylar was missing out on that day with our baby, and just thinking about him not being able to see Sage in his newborn phase and not having him there with me to get through the nights. Like, okay, it's your turn to change the diaper, your turn to give the bottle, and having like that relief and that, whoa. Little Sage, he makes the funniest noises. Just like having the help from your partner, and like that appreciation, and having like a little bit of a break because it's the 2 of you taking care of your baby instead of just me having to do everything by myself. That was a huge contribution to my baby blues and just postpartum depression. So we have been actually talking on the phone every week for like the past month, and I've been sending like photos and videos of Sage, but it is still a very difficult situation to be in. Like I said, now that we've gotten into a little bit of a routine, that definitely helps, but I am sad a lot of the times, and just like wishing that I had my partner to help me with the baby, which is, like I said, what I thought I was going to have when I got pregnant. It was definitely something that we decided together, but that my partner maybe wanted more so than I did, because I wanted to wait until we were pregnant to have a baby. So I really never wanted to be a single mom or to do any of this alone, even though I've always wanted to be a mom and always dreamed of being a mom and having a baby. It's just not quite how I thought it was going to be. So there has been a lot of just difficulties and sadness around that. But that being said, I'm so thankful to be a mom to Sage Wilder. I'm so glad that Sage Wilder chose me to be his mom, and I love my baby so much. Another thing that helped with my postpartum depression is this progesterone cream that my mommy friend sent me, like in a care package. So basically, when you are postpartum, your progesterone levels drop. You have a lot of that hormone when you're pregnant, and so this helps to kind of like combat that. And I asked like my OBGYN doctor if this was okay to take, and she said that it was. So for me and for my friend, it definitely seemed to help, just kind of like keep the hormones a little bit more level, a little more in check. And I started using this probably at the end of that first week home from the hospital. I also want to thank everyone who has left such just like positive and encouraging comments on my videos, on my birth vlog, birth story, breakup updates, about how strong and resilient I am and how I seem like a natural mom and all of those things. And like those things really do light up my heart and just make me feel really good. But if I'm being honest, I do feel like a lot of the times I don't feel very strong, and a lot of the times I have like mom guilt, like am I doing enough? Am I playing with him enough? Am I working too much? Of course, it's kind of hard because I pretty much have to work to pay the bills. It's definitely hard finding that balance, and even though, you know, I've tried to be like as positive as possible, I do feel like down about the situation a lot. I do feel like just think about it a lot and just wish that I wasn't in this position, in this situation. So obviously I didn't have a choice in this situation, but I am doing my best, and I appreciate that so many of you think I'm doing a good job doing that. And I guess I just need to give myself a little bit more credit, be a little bit kinder to myself, and realize that despite all of the trials and tribulations that I've been going through, I have been doing a good job of staying positive as possible, and that is something that I can be proud of myself for. So thank you so much for everyone who has left those encouraging words. And you know, it is really hard to put yourself out there like this and share you know, the not so pretty things going on in my life. But I just hope that you guys appreciate my honesty. I know that there's so many single moms who've commented on my videos, so hopefully these videos have been helpful for you guys. And as far as like what it's like being a single mom, or maybe my pregnancy videos helped you guys, like the advice that I was giving, and I'm hoping that my birth vlogs and those kind of videos were helpful as well. So that is my goal in sharing these videos. Okay guys, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this video. I hope that everything made sense. I hope I didn't ramble too much. But if you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you guys aren't subscribed already, please be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell notification so you'll be notified whenever I have a new video. And also, if you guys would please share my channel with anyone that you think would enjoy my content as well, that would be amazing. This is what I do to support baby and I as a single mom, is full-time social media content creation. So any help I can get is very much appreciated. Also be sure to check me out on all socials at The Urban Darling, and my blog theurbandarling.com for more content. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!